Hi everyone. Today we will be going to discuss an interesting chapter called as force. So in our daily life we will be doing many things like walking on the road, running on the road, riding the bicycle, holding the objects, throwing the ball or throwing the objects, fighting with your friends, brushing. So there are many things what we do in our daily life. If you see the nature, sunrise, sunset, change of climate, rising and lowering of tides in the sea. So there are many examples we can see in the nature. So here, years back, millions of years back, what people used to think that there may be an invisible force. There may be an invisible force that is causing all these changes. Okay. As the years passed on, as the technology was developing, they has given a definition for force. Okay, what was the definition given? That force is nothing, a limited definition. They have given that force is nothing but an effort. Force is nothing but an effort. Like when you are riding a bicycle, you are doing some effort. You are pushing the legs on the pedal downwards, right? So here what you are doing, you are using some effort on the legs by pushing the pedal downwards. Or when you are throwing a ball, your hand, you are using some effort on the hand to throw the ball. Okay, so here what was the definition what they have given years back when the scientists were developing a definition for force? They said that force is nothing but it's an effort. Whatever we do, like when you drink a juice by using a straw, will be what? We will be pulling the juice into your mouth. So when you are hoisting a flag, what you are doing? You are pulling the rope. Okay. Now when you are lifting the bag, school bag, what you are doing? You are pulling the bag. Okay. When you are closing the door, you are pushing the door. So here, if you see all these examples, if you observe all these examples, we can find a common things in all the examples. What is the common thing what we can observe there? Either we are pushing the object or we are pulling the object. So here, force is nothing but a push or a pull. Okay, a push or a pull of an object is called as force. Okay, understood? So here, to take some more example. So think that there is some amount of water on the floor. We have not seen it. You are running from a far distance. You are running. When you step on the water, what will happen? You will slip off to the ground. So here, till that moment, you are applying some force on the ground. Same force you have applied on the floor where the water was present. But here what happened? You slipped off. Means what? There the force must have changed. There must be a change in the force. Right? Think that you have got a ball. You have rolled the ball on the surface. What will happen to the ball? As the ball goes on moving, it will decrease its speed and at one point it stops. What is making the ball to stop? There must be some other force that is making the ball to stop. To know that, you must know the types of forces. What are the types of forces? Types. There are two types of forces. One is contact force. Second one is contactless force, or it is also called as force at a distance. Okay, so there are different types of forces. All these forces have been categorized into two types. One is contact force, other one is non-contact force. Before saying about types of forces, what changes does a force can do? We came to know that force is nothing but a push or a pull of an object. So what changes does a force can do? The force can do certain changes. What are the changes? Force can change the direction of object. force can change the direction of the object. How come the force can change the direction of the object? Think that your friend has kicked a ball where you are in front of him. What you will do, when you keep the leg in front of the ball, once the ball hit your leg, what will happen? The ball will changes the direction. So here what you have done, you are applying some force with your leg on the ball. When you have applied a force, what happened? The ball has changed its direction. Means what? The force can change the direction of the object. Second, force can change speed of object. Speed of object means what? It can make the object to move from what? Rest to motion or reverse. Motion to rest. Either it can make the object to move from rest to motion, or either it can make the object to stop. How come? Think that one of your friends has thrown the ball. When you catch the ball, before that instant, what is happening? Ball was moving. It is in motion. When you catch the ball, what happened? You have stopped the speed of the object. So what we can say that motion or force can change the speed of an object. Third one is what? Force can change the shape of the object. Force can change the shape of the object. How come force can change shape of the object? Take a sponge. You press it. When you squeeze it, what happened? It will changes its shape. You are applying a force there. What is happening? Due to that force, what is happening? The shape of the sponge is changing. Is what when you squeeze it. So here what we can say that force can do what? Force can change the direction of the object. Force can change the speed of the object. Force can change the shape of the object. So force can change certain changes to the object. Understood? So hence we are discussing about what? Types of forces. What are the types of forces? All the forces have been categorized into contact force and contactless force. First one is what? Contact force. What is meant by a contact force? Contact force is nothing but the force exerted by the object by a direct physical contact with the other object. Means what? Think that this is the duster. When I push it, here what is happening? I am applying a force by touching the object. There is a direct physical contact. So what we can say that contact force is nothing but the force. Here my finger acts as one object. The force exerted by an object by a direct physical contact with the other object. Understood? So here, what is that? Contact force is nothing but the force exerted by an object by a direct physical contact with the other object is called as contact force. But what will be contactless force? Contactless force. Same definition. The force exerted by an object where there is no direct physical contact with the other object. Like example, magnet. Think that two magnets are there. Like poles. If you keep the like poles together at a distance, when you push one magnet, the other magnet will move. Right. So there is no direct contact, but still a force is being applied between the objects. So here what we can say that contactless force is nothing but the force exerted by an object by what is that? No direct physical contact with the other object is called as contactless force. Okay, so what we have seen that force can change the direction of the object, force can change the speed of the object, force can change the shape of the object, force can change the state of the object. State of the object means, as I told, rest to motion, motion to rest. Okay, now here contact force and contactless force we have seen. Today in this class we will be learning about what is this contact force. As I said, when you are pushing this duster, here what I am doing, with my finger I am pushing it. Means what? I am using my muscles to push the object. So here first type of contact force is what? Muscular force. Muscular force. What is meant by muscular force? The force exerted by our muscles on an object is called as muscular force. Okay, when you are brushing your teeth, you are moving the brush against the teeth. Means what? You are using your muscle to apply some force on the brush. Okay, and that way you are pushing the brush against the teeth. When you press the toothpaste tube, here you are using your muscles. So here the force exerted by the muscles on an object is called as muscular force. What is meant by muscle? Muscle is nothing but multiple bundles of muscle cells. Important point about these muscles is nothing but muscle is nothing but a multiple bundle means what? A large amount of multiple bundle of muscle cells. In this, some part of the muscle cell will go for contraction. Other part of the muscle cell will go for relaxation. Understood? In amount, as I said, multiple bundles. Some muscle cells will go for what? Contraction. It will contract. Some other muscle will go for what? Relaxation. For example, when you smile or when you think that you are throwing a ball. When you are throwing a ball, the muscles in your chest area is what? It's getting relaxed. And the muscles on your shoulder, other part of the shoulder, what happens? It is getting contracted. So here what we can say that muscle, some part of the muscle will go for contraction, other part of the muscle will go for relaxation. Does muscular force occurs inside the body? Yes. So here, if you observe inside the body, circulation of the blood, there also force is required. Expansion and contraction of your lungs, there also force is required. Heart, beating of heart, there also force is required. So here muscular force is nothing but what? The force exerted by the muscle on an object is called as muscular force. Okay. We came to know what is the muscular force. Next one is what? Next one is muscular force over. Next one is frictional force. Now what is meant by frictional force? What is meant by frictional force? So here, as I said before example, few minutes back I told, when there is water on the floor, what happens? The moment when you step on it, you just slips off to the ground. Or when you throw a ball on the ground, what happened? After reaching certain distance, it stops. It is stopping means what? What we can understand that there must be some other force which is being applied in the other direction. That's what we are saying. You are rolling a ball is moving certain distance. As it goes on moving, it slows down, decreases speed. It is decreasing its speed means what? Some force is being acted which is acting opposite to the applied force. And that force depends on what? Some sort of force is present which is acting against the applied force. On what factor this force will depend? This force depends on the nature of the substance. What is the nature of the substance? Here, if you take two objects, take a ball, roll the ball on a smooth surface, measure the distance covered by the ball. Okay, at the same time, roll the same ball on a rough surface, measure the distance covered by the ball. What we can observe, the distance covered by the ball on a smooth surface will be greater than the distance covered by the ball on a rough surface. Yes, take one more example. Take three things: ice cube, eraser and a coin, and take a tray. What you do? You incline the tray. Okay. What you do? You place all the three objects on one end of the tray. Think that this is our ice cube, coin, and this is our eraser. Okay. Now what you do? You release all the three. What we can observe that the ice cube will cover more distance, the coin will cover lesser distance compared with the ice, and the eraser will cover very less distance compared with all the two objects. So here, why there is a difference in the distance covered by the object? If you observe the surface of the ice cube, it is very small. So here, what we can observe that when here the surface of the ice cube is less. Okay, surface of the ice cube is smooth. That is the reason it is covering more distance, and surface of the coin compared with the eraser is a little bit smooth. That is the reason it is covered more distance compared with the eraser, and the surface of the eraser is rough. That is the reason it covers very less distance. Okay, So from this what we can understand that whatever the force that I told, it depends on what factor? Nature of the surface. Nature of the surface. Okay. So on what factors that force depends? That depends on nature of the surface. What is that force? That force is called as frictional force. So frictional force depends on the nature of the surface. So what is meant by frictional force? What is meant by friction? Friction is nothing but the resistance exerted by the body on the surface of another body. Think that there are two objects. Okay, the friction exerted by one body on the surface of another body. Now, what is meant by friction? Friction is nothing but opposition. It doesn't want to move. Okay, it doesn't want to change its state. Understood? It doesn't want to change state to rest. So here, a friction exerted by one object on the surface of another object is called as resistance. It's called as frictional force. Understood? What is the resistance? Resistance is nothing but an opposition, an unwillingness. It doesn't want to change its state of rest. It always want to be at rest. That is called as resistance. So here, frictional force is nothing but, friction is nothing but, or frictional force is the force exerted or the resistance exerted by the object on the surface of another object is called as what? Friction. And the force exerted by the friction is called as frictional force. One more important point, that frictional force always acts opposite to the applied force. Understood? Whatever the force we are applying to that force, frictional force will be always opposite to the applied force. What we have seen that frictional force is nothing but the resistance exerted by one object on the surface of another object. It always want to be the object at rest. Understood? That's what about frictional force. Now, if frictional force has been disappeared on the earth, what will happen? So you are holding the object means what? There is a resistance that is making the object not to move between your fingers and the object. If resistance is not there, what will happen? This duster slips off from the ground, from your hand to the ground. At the same time, if an object is moving, when you are walking, when you are running, what is happening? You are applying some force. There is a resistance which is being formed between your foot and the ground. That is the reason you are moving or you are running. If the resistance is less, that's what happened. When there is water, there the resistance is decreasing. The friction is decreasing. That is the reason you are slipping off to the ground. That is the reason accident occurs more during the rainy season. The resistance between the tire and the road of the vehicle decreases. That is the reason accident occurs. You cannot hold any object. If an object is in motion, it always want to be in motion. Always be in motion. Cannot stop the object, because if you want to stop the object, there must be a resistance. Understood, everyone? The next one is normal force. Normal force. What is meant by normal force? Think that, as I think that is the duster, I kept the duster on my hand. So here, if the hand is not here, think that, imagine that it has disappeared. What will happen? Duster will fall down. The duster will fall down. So here, what we can understand that due to what the duster is moving down, due to gravitational force. If my hand is not there for a support, what will happen? Due to the gravitational force, it moves down. So the object is supported by what? By some other force which is acting against the gravitational force. What is that force which is acting as a support to the object against the gravitational force? It is called as normal force. In order to know what is the normal force, you must know what is meant by normal. Normal is nothing but a perpendicular drawn, perpendicular direction drawn, perpendicular direction drawn, perpendicular to the surface of an object. Surface upon which the object is kept. Listen carefully, what is meant by normal? Normal is nothing, think that this is one surface. A direction drawn perpendicular to the surface upon which the object is placed. Means what? We should not consider the object, we should consider the surface on which the object is placed. So here, this is the perpendicular direction. So direction perpendicular to the surface on which the object is kept is called as normal. In that direction, if you apply some force, it is called as normal force. And one more important point, that normal force always act upward direction, which is always opposite to the gravitational force. So as I said, the force acting along the direction of normal. The force acting along the direction of normal is called as normal force. What is meant by normal? Direction perpendicular to the surface upon which the object is kept. Means what we will be not considering the object, we will be considering the surface on which the object is kept. For example, if you observe here, if you take one inclined surface, if you place one object here, what will be the normal? We should not draw the normal like this. Okay, it is wrong. What I said, normal should be perpendicular to the surface on which the object. What object dash you should not see here. What we have to see? We have to see the inclined plane. This is our inclined plane. So what to the inclined plane? What is the direction? Normal is the direction on which the object is placed. So this will be the normal. So normal is nothing but the direction perpendicular on the surface where the object is placed. Is called as normal, and the force along with the normal is applied. Is called normal force. Understood what is meant by normal? Okay. What is that normal thing? That normal force always acts opposite to the gravitational force, always upward direction. Next one is tension or tensional force. Tension is not that tension that comes when you write before the exam. No, what is that? Not that tension. So here, tension is nothing that you are holding one end of the rope. You ask your friend to hold the other end of the rope, and you try to pull the rope, and he also will pull the rope in opposite directions. Okay, you are pulling in this direction, and your friend is pulling the opposite direction. Goes on applying more effort, more force. What will happen at a certain point? What we can observe that this rope breaks. Till that moment, till that point of time, what we have observed that the rope is holding that force, is trying to hold that force. But when you are applying more force, what is happening? The rope is breaking. Rope is breaking means what? Whatever the force you have applied, it has overcome the limit of some other force which is present inside the rope, which is making the rope to hold. Understood? Understood what I am saying? So, at one point of time, the rope is breaking means what? Whatever the force you have applied, it has become. You have overcome the force which is present inside the rope, that is making the rope to hold. Understood? What is the force which is present inside the rope or string that is applied by the string? That is called as tension. So tension or tensional force is nothing but the force exerted by the string. Okay, in which direction? By the string in opposite to the applied force. Understood? When the applied force overcomes, when the applied force is greater than the tensional force, at that moment the string or the rope will break. Understood what I am saying? So tension or tensional force is nothing but the force exerted by the string or the object, and which is always act what? Always act opposite to the applied force. Understood? So here one more important point, that tension force is always a pulling force. Now when you discuss about tension, we will be discussing about what? About some rope or string. In this only we will find the tension. So tension is nothing but the force exerted by the string or an object which is applied against the applied force is called as tension or tensional force. Okay. Now, how to find the limiting force or a limit of the tensional force? It's an important one. How to find the limit of the tensional force? What you will do, you will take one spring balance. You will attach that spring balance to a ceiling. Think that this is our ceiling. So there will be readings on the spring balance, and there will be a pointer which shows the 0 readings. So the other end of the spring balance, what we will do? We will attach one string. Okay. Other end of the string you have attached one weight hanger. Weight hanger. Okay. We are taking one spring balance. One end of the spring balance is attached to the what? Ceiling. Other end of the spring balance you attach one end of the string to the spring balance. Other end of the spring balance string you attach a weight hanger. Now what we will do? We will add 50 grams of weight into it. When we add 50 grams of weight into it, you can observe the pointer moves down. You measure the reading on the pointer. What you do? You repeat the same process. Goes on adding the weight, 50 grams, 50 grams, goes on adding it. When it goes on adding it, at certain point, you can observe that the string breaks. The point or the weight at which the string breaks tells about the limitation of the tensional force in that string or rope. Understood? Very simple experiment. Everyone, I think everyone understood. So here, with this I will conclude my today's class. So you go through the those who are watching this video, please like the video and share the video to your friends. Thank you.